Welcome everyone to the WNCC Coffee Hour. We're thrilled all of you could make it this morning. And we're also excited today to be talking about engaging volunteers. And we have Norma Baines gracing us with her wisdom this morning. She's from the Shiloh Community Association. And to get us rolling, let me just give you a quick overview of our agenda. So we'll have just a brief welcome, and then, as you know, we'll break out into groups and do what we call sip and chat. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. Then we have our presentation today from Norma Baines of Shiloh Community Association about engaging volunteers. We'll have time for some Q&A, and if there's any time left, we can just have a more general discussion about how to attract and engage volunteers. And then at the end, we'll just do a little checkout to see how everybody's feeling after the presentation and what you're taking away from it. So for the sip and chat, we're going to get into pairs here in just a moment. And you'll have a chance to introduce yourself to hopefully somebody new you haven't spoken with before. And the question to consider are, how are things going with volunteer recruitment and engagement in your community? And what are you hoping to learn today? And then when we come back, we'll be hearing from Norma. So let me go ahead and put you guys into pairs. And while I'm doing that, if you guys wouldn't mind, if you could just introduce yourself and say what community you're from. And Steve, could you start us off?
Yes, I'm Steve Duckett with Buncombe County Extension, work with several of the county community clubs and live in the Sandy Mush community and serve on their board.
Evelyn?
Did you say Evelyn?
Yeah, Evelyn, could you introduce yourself?
Okay.
What community you're from?
Yes, Evelyn Coltman. I'm with Bethel Rural Community Organization in Haywood County.
Ruth, could you introduce yourself?
Can't hear you.
Hear me, Ruth?
Okay, now I can.
Okay.
Ruth Atkins, Spring Mountain Community Center, which is in Eastern Buncombe.
And Lisa?
I'm Lisa McLean. I'm representing the Spring Creek Community Center. They had a tour this morning, so I'm their stand-in person.
Okay, great. Thank you for being here, Lisa.
Your sound is going in and out, Susan.
It is. Huh. Well, we were having trouble with the sound earlier. Maybe it was me rather than you, Norma. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Let me know if it blinks out again. Okay. Nina, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Nina Chastain, and I'm the Secretary Treasurer at the Martins Creek Community Center in Cherokee County.
And someone joined us, and I can see your phone number, but I'm not sure who that is. Can you tell us who you are?
My name is Laura Lee Petridge, and I'm the Technical Advisor and Building Consultant for the Shiloh Community Association.
Okay, great. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, as I mentioned, we're going to do breakout rooms now. So our sip and chat. And again, the question is basically, how is volunteer engagement going in your community and what are you hoping to learn today? And you'll have about 8 minutes. Back, everyone. Sounds like a couple of you made a really nice connection. I hope all of you had a chance to meet somebody you hadn't met before. And
Yes.
So, great. So that was the sip and chat portion of our event. So we're going to move on now, and I'd like to introduce Norma Baines. So Norma was born and raised in Shiloh. She did move away for 40 years, but then came back because she knew a good thing when she saw it. She is one of the founders of the Shiloh Community Association, which was established in the year 2000. And she has been the liaison for that community for 17 years. And now she's the assistant liaison. So she's been actively leading and participating in this community for a very long time. She says it's been such a joy to be part of the organization. and that one of the highlights of her volunteerism was receiving the Dorothy Richardson Award in 2006. And that is a organization, she's part of an organization called NeighborWorks, Dorothy Richardson is, and she founded that organization. And what they do is they help renovate homes. And this award is given to leaders for their leadership in their communities and helping their communities grow and thrive and develop in every positive way. So that's a huge accomplishment for Norma. So not only that, but Norma has been involved in all the incredible work that's been going on at Shiloh. I'm so grateful that she could be here today and share with us some of the, I would even use the word cutting edge things that they're doing with their community. So without further ado, let me introduce Norma. And Norma, just let me know when you want me to pull up the slides, okay?
Okay, I will. All right. Good morning to everyone. My name is Norma Baines, Assistant Liaison for the Shiloh Community Association. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to share this morning about community engagement. As a Shiloh Community Association Executive Board member, I am over the Shiloh Community Garden. I am blessed to have 3 wonderful young people who work and oversee the garden. That includes the youth stipend program and all of the volunteers that come to the SCA garden. This includes volunteers from other organizations, residents of the community, and students from Morris Hill University, University of North Carolina, Asheville, and Warren Wilson. We have had students to come from Rambo College of New Jersey, Montgomery College in Rockville, Maryland, and the University of South Florida in Tampa. We also have another young lady who helps in the garden with our technical support and also the construction advisor. And she's in this meeting today. And her name is Lydon Patrick. And I'm glad that she could come here today. Okay. I would like to tell you how we started having community engagement. And believe it or not, I have a picture, and I don't know if you can see it, and I didn't send it because on this PowerPoint, it was so many pictures. And you will see Laura Lee and Kevin, and they are the ones that help us start our community engagement. And a young lady came to our meeting, and she wanted to help in the garden. Her name was Jessica Lydon, and she was a nurse, but she was taking classes to become an RN. And at that time, she was taking care of my husband who was sick. And Jessica wanted to come to the garden, and we said yes. And Lolly and Kevin took her under their wings. And that was the beginning of the community engagement in Shiloh. As it grew, we became more friendly, and more people started coming, and we engaged our youth program at that time, and they also came. And you know how they did it? Because I'm not going to take all the credit for that. They did it with Facebook. They went from 0 people to 333 people in a short time. So they started having a lot of people coming to the garden. And that was awesome. And I think later on, Laura Lee might want to say hello to everybody. Laura Lee still in her work goes to the garden and help out. And you will see some of her work with one of the slides. As I said, we had a strong roots program for the youth from age 10 and up. And we partner with Bountiful Cities and school programs at the Limerick Crump Shiloh Recreation Center. And we had garden days. So let's talk about our engagement with University of North Carolina, Asheville. We partner with the Health and Wellness Department. And Dr. Amina is very helpful in all the things we do, and we interact with the students with her. Students conduct research, surveys, offer technical support, and assist in archiving the accomplishments that the Shiloh Community Association does. They create PowerPoints on activities in the garden and events with grant reporting. They volunteer in the garden. SCA Executive Board meet with the students and share the historical significance of Shiloh, along with grassroots approaches to operating volunteers for nonprofits. We work with undergrads as well as master level students, and this is a joy for us to do. Now I will talk about community engagement with Warren Wilson. They have a community day of service each year, and they do it at our garden. They volunteer in the garden on Saturdays. Warren Wilson did a workshop at the garden along with us. Warren Wilson shop designed with a visiting resident artist and constructed the art trail. Before COVID, we would go to the campus with other partners, have tables, and introduce ourselves to the students. But Dr. Haybarn would bring his students to the Little Black Branch stream at the garden for the environmental class. This is some of the pictures showing the workday of Warren Wilson students. As you see, one of the residents, Belle, picking flowers that are in our garden. You will see our flag, which is our historical flag of pride. And you will see a picture of Linwood. Linwood Crump was the mayor of Shiloh, and he helped us get started way before the association got started because he kept things going. Can you move it up just a little bit? Okay. Then you have Chanel Wilson. She was doing the car bench at our garden. And you see the Warren Wilson students helping to make that happen. We were so happy to have her and her baby join us because this is a youth project, you know. So, and they had a lot of fun that day. You can move it up again, okay. Oh, here you will see them cleaning out the shed. These are Warren Wilson students, and we have to do that so often because with all the students that we have in the youth program, you know, sometimes they don't get put back in the right place, so we have to make that happen. You see the students fixing the fence right there, and that was a joy to have them to help us do that and do the weeding. Next, you will see, if you go up to the next slide, you will see a group of people, and you'll see Anita, which is the lady sitting next to me, and she's our historian. She was the librarian at UNCA for many years, but she retired. But she is our historian for the Shiloh Community Association. She does a lot of workshop and explains what Shiloh is all about and where we came from. So we were so glad to have her that day talk to the students. I usually talk to the students about the history of the association. So we get it all together and hope people enjoy that. Okay, I now we'll talk about, okay, this is our logo and I will do this slide a little bit later, if it's okay, Susan. Okay. The project from Lowe's. Next, I will talk about Morris Hill University. We traveled.
Norma,
Mhm.
you can keep the paper a little lower. We'll be able to see your face better.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I
You're
have a
fine.
tendency to do that sometimes.
No
Okay,
worries.
thanks for letting me know. Okay.
No worries.
Okay, Morris Hill University students, we travel to the campus each year with the partners, introducing and sharing about our organization. We interview the Baynes students, they volunteer at our garden, and we have students to conduct surveys for the community. Students research and prepare PowerPoints about the resource center. Some of our SCA board members did a historical presentation about Shiloh at the campus in the library, and everybody seemed to enjoy that. Students volunteer in the SCA garden. We partner with Dr. Gilbert, who is a teacher and teach Black history, and brought his students to the garden to volunteer. We were so happy to have them volunteer at the garden, and we believe they learned a lot, and we learned a lot from them also. I will do the next slide now about
Okay.
Home Depot. Well, Shiloh Community Association and Home Depot, we are so proud that they are one of the organizations that help us do some of the things in our community. You will see our logo, and you see the logo for Home Depot. And I would like to, and can I have the next? Okay, you will see the people getting ready because we had a shed that was built, and we wanted to extend the shed. And this was done by Laura Lee and the students. And so we extended the shed, but Home Depot was able to and did give us all the supplies that we used to extend the shed, and that was over $500. So we was glad to have them to partner with us with this project. As you see, you will see different people up on the shed. You will see some of the students helping. And I think it's one more picture that's under this one. Okay, you will see the young person. He's so excited that he helped with all this. And you will see the extension that was done in the picture. All right, I think it's one more.
That's the last one.
Okay, that's the last one. Okay, I don't know if Laura Lee would like to say anything about this project, since it was hers and how she worked with the students in doing this project. It was very educational for them to learn how to measure and cut and do things like that, and to see what a great job that it turned out to be. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Sure, I'll say something. What's really amazing is we had to excavate, and it took us, I think sometimes in communities you sort of think, oh, it's only going to take a week or, whatever, but it took us 6 months. But that's the whole beauty of volunteers in action, especially with youth, that we consistently keep doing it. The project, if it were done by someone, it could be done in 3 days, but the better way is the slower way, just so everyone gets their hands on it. And then that process of having everyone's hands on it also means that people take care of it. So that's really beautiful. And many other people came in, friends and contractors would, donate a couple hours of their time and materials. So it's wonderful to have additional space. It makes our life a lot easier. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura Lee. We appreciate you sharing that. Especially the piece about that it takes longer than maybe we would anticipate or hope, but in the end, that willingness to be slow and to take the time it takes to really nurture your volunteers pays off huge dividends over the long haul.
Absolutely. It builds cultural competence. And that's the whole aspect of having a community garden on a corner. The garden is located on the corner across from the baseball field. So it's on Century and Hampton, and it's a place where people walk. And so they see activities. And just like in the olden days, right, when people would be out in their yards or coming home from work, that whole aspect of how do we build community? And it's by passing by each other again and again and seeing each other. Another part of this is that the children, right, the whole aspect of, you know, there's a wonderful youth population here and intergenerational relationships. So you're always being watched, you know, like 50 years ago in most communities, kids would go out and play for hours. And as long as they were home by, you know, dark or for dinner, they were fine. But there's a similar feel in the Shiloh community that people are always watching. It's a community.
Wow, that is really wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, because that is something I feel like has been, you know, sort of lost in a lot of places. That sense of the safety, because you know everyone's looking out for each other. So Norma, you outlined several things that each one in itself was amazing. The partnership with Warren Wilson College, the one with UNCA, University of North Carolina, Asheville, and also the partnership with Home Depot, the donation, and then of course Laura Lee leading a lot of those construction projects. So I'm curious whether anyone who's listening today has any questions for Norma or perhaps for Laura Lee about how you pulled all this off. Anyone have questions for us? Yeah, and I muted all of you while she was speaking, so you'll have to unmute yourself. Go ahead. Thanks,
Okay.
Drew.
In regards to using Facebook, do you have any idea what kinds of things were put on there to draw people to leave the computer and come to the community and do things?
Oh,
I can do one. Go ahead, Ms.
Can
Norma.
we let Norma answer that, and then Laura Lee, if you have something to add, that'd be great.
okay. Well, as I said, it was a process, but and we still have our Facebook page. So if you go to it, you will see all the activities that go on in the garden. You will see the youth cooking. You will see all the classes that we have. You see all this activity that is happening in the garden, as well as some of our events, because we do most of our events up into COVID, rather, they were at the garden. And we really had a lot of people that attended, not only in Shiloh, but other communities. And well, if Lolly wants something to add, I will let her add something. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Thank you. Also, Shaniqua, Chloe, and Lydia created an Instagram for the Shiloh Community Garden. And that also has pictures. As we all know, the older folks are probably more connected to Facebook now, and the younger folks are more connected to Instagram, which is something in doing some research, I realized, yeah, it's really true. Like, Facebook was, you know, started by people, but then anyway, it's just something to getting the intergenerational button. You know, we have to appeal to everybody. And in terms of being able to, every time someone came to the garden in the past, when we first started Facebook, we'd be like, oh, do you want to be a Facebook friend? Or, you know, if you were coming from a college, say Warren Wilson, hey, friend us on Facebook. So those people still, you know, it'll still come up in their news feed. And so I think that's a real important piece of, you know, Rita Hunter was from Warren Wilson College. I think she's been probably graduated for 8 or 9 years, but she still comes up on the feed, right? So it's just that whole, even if she doesn't comment, it still pops up on her consciousness, I guess.
Such a good point. You know, that's the way you stay top of mind. If you're popping up in people's feed, then they remember you, and they're more likely when they see an event pop up to think, hey, I think I want to go check out what those guys are doing. Yeah, that's such a great question, Ruth. Thank you for asking that. And I think another thing I'd like to underscore about what Norma and Laura Lee shared is the regularity of their posting, that there's always something happening. There's a frequency that's happening. And that's really key, not just because people see you and you're top of mind, but also means, you know, there's things for them to engage in, but also that's the way the algorithms work for these online applications. It's like if there's activity, then your stuff rises to the top.
Right. And one of the things that we are consistent with is the Saturday work days. They are every Saturday from 10 to 2. So we are very consistent with that. Also, some of the holidays like Martin Luther King's Day, we have activities down there, and we invite other people to join us from different organizations.
Okay, other questions?
People can go back through probably 7, if they go back through the feeds, you'll be able to see all the pictures from, I guess, when we started it, maybe in 2012, I think we started the Facebook. So you can go back through all the years and look at activities. And that really, a picture really is worth 1,000 words. It does share, you know, the emotion and the passion and the joy.
Okay.
I'm just pulling up y'all's Facebook feed so everybody can take a look at it together with me. Okay, can you guys see that?
Facebook? Do you have Facebook? No.
So is this the right one, you guys? There's actually a few different ones. There's Shiloh Residential, Shiloh Community. This one says Shiloh Community Center.
Yeah, this is the Shiloh Community Center.
That's the right one.
No, it should be the Shiloh Community Garden.
Or association. It's the Shiloh Community Association.
Okay, so this isn't the right one.
No.
It's the Shiloh Community Association. And then it does have posts from the Shiloh Community Center as well.
Glow in the dark dodgeball. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, you will see some of the things from the center as well as the association on here, and other that they are doing at the center, because we have our meetings there, and they're one of our partners, so you will see that.
Click on the link that says community, and then you'll see the mural. Like if you scroll down, you'll see the little free food pantry. Do you see that? And then the mural where people are working on that. And have you found that? I'm sorry, I'm not.
Nope, I don't see what you're talking about.
Okay, at the top of the page, it says home, about, photos, videos, events, and posts, and community. Click on community.
Okay, I think that's it.
So here's the mural and the pantry.
Yep. And then the sign that was the Hampton Street, the Shiloh Community Garden, that was actually created probably back in 2012 by Luther Foster, who is one of the original descendants. And so Warren Wilson students are re-lettering his work just to give it a little facelift.
Well, let's see if there are any more questions. We've got about 15 more minutes left. So I just want to make sure if there were other questions that everyone has a chance to ask those.
Okay.
Okay, Evelyn?
Yes, how do you fund your projects? I know that Home Depot helped with the shed, but as far as all the other stuff involved, the seeds, you know, whatever other parts of it there are, how is that funded?
Okay, we fund it through grants and also through donations and partnerships, because we partner with Bountiful Cities, who helped us start the garden back in 2005. And we work very closely with them.
What was that? I didn't hear that, the name of that. What was that name that you talked about?
Bountiful Cities.
Okay.
That's an organization that does gardens and other things. So we partner with them, and we've been partners a long, long time, since before 2005. And we started the garden, and they also help us now in some of the things that we do. We contract the people that work in the garden, and we do that through grants to help give them stipends. And that's how we keep that part going with that. But we also do a lot of work with volunteers, because we have volunteers from the universities and the colleges and organizations and the residents. And so that's what we do to keep the garden going, is our volunteers and the grants that we do.
One more question. I noticed you have a lot of classes. I saw Tai Chi and I've forgotten some of the others, but do those people, are they paid by you, or do they volunteer the classes? And if so, how do you work with the community center as far as payment? I mean, all of our people are volunteers. We don't pay anybody. So who teaches those classes, and how are they funded, or is it just strictly volunteer?
Let's see if I can answer one question at a time. Okay. Our organization, the Shiloh Community Association, is all volunteers. We have an all volunteer board, and we do not get paid. This is our 22nd year. We do not get paid. Okay, we partner with the universities and the colleges, and of course we go in and do what, as partners, we interact with them and do what we have to do to make sure they understand what our purpose is in our garden and our things that we are doing. And they also learn about the Shiloh Community Association and our goals and what we would like to see happen. So it's a partnership, but it's not a lot of financial money, you know, for us, but it's something that we enjoy doing and we learn from it. And I would like to think that they learn from us as a grassroots organization.
So in other words, your Tai Chi person, is that volunteer, or did they get paid through a grant, or what? Or are you?
Okay, the Tai Chi that you saw was a activity that the center does. That is not our activity. Some of the things that were on the activities because we partner with them that you saw on Facebook.
So Norma, help me understand how you guys are organized. Is Shiloh Community Organization is pretty much focused around the garden, and then the Shiloh Center is run by the city of Asheville. Is that right? But you guys are kind of co-located, like the garden is just outside the physical building that the city runs. Is that right?
Right. We do an agreement with the Shiloh Center because we are, you know, organization using their facilities for meetings and things. So we do an agreement with them to help them with their programs, and they help us, you know, far as space to meet and other things. Mhm. And that's a yearly thing that we do.
Evelyn, did we get all of your questions answered?
I think so. We're trying to think about expanding classes and stuff we offer, but we're not sure if, you know, we have rentals. Do we charge those people who rent it to teach classes, or do we, you know, that's what we're trying to figure out. So I was just curious as to how they do it.
Well, we sort of volunteer. We do the volunteer process of it. That's what we do. That's what we try to do anyway, so that it's a win-win for everyone.
Thank you.
May I add something? We also, is that okay? We
have Ruth with her hand up. Could we let her go, and then Laura Lee, you could be after Ruth?
Sure.
It's okay. She can go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Laura Lee.
Well, I just wanted to add that we do offer the garden and the Legacy Art Trail for rent for birthdays and family gatherings, religious gatherings. So people can contact Miss Norma and reserve that. And then the bigger vision is actually having our own resource center. And Miss Norma will probably talk about that further. That helps clarify.
Yeah, Norma, do you want to just give them the quick rundown of your plans with the resource center that your fundraising?
Okay. I don't know if everyone knows that Shiloh in September the 14th, 2010, the Shiloh Association had written a 2025 plan, and the city of Asheville adopted that plan that day. So we were very proud of that, and we have been in the process of implementing that plan. The biggest part of that plan is developing a resource center, and our resource center would have multiple usage. One, it would be for education and different programs. We plan to have a satellite campus where the universities can come and have classes at our resource center. And we welcome other people that have skills to come and have classes. We want really to have classes that even the police department or the fire department would like to come and have classes at our resource center. We want classes that will increase the skills of the residents in our community, like plumbing, electricity, and things like that, because this would help our economic development of people in our neighborhood. We will have classes for seniors, young people of all ages, and they would come and develop their skills. We would also use the facility for weddings or meetings or cooking classes or all the things that people would like to see happen in their community. One of the basic things about a resource center being in the community is there for all the residents to enjoy and to come to. So we're looking forward to building this building. Right now, we're in the process of doing grants and things and getting the people in place that we will need to develop this resource center, which is quite a project because we need architects, we need land architects as well as the ones that will design the building. We need all construction people. We need so much. And as we get into it as an association and board members, we realize that this is a project that will take us to the next step to better our community.
Wonderful. And I understood from you earlier, Norma, that the land for the resource center was donated, and you're currently fundraising to fund the construction of the building. Is that right?
Yes, we have a GoFundMe page on our website, which is www.ncc.org. It's a GoFundMe page, and we are constantly looking for donations or grants that will bring in the funds that we need to do all the things we need to do to make this happen. Make our building happen, our resource center. So we are working very hard to do that. And we don't mind talking to different people about investments or donations to our cause. Mm-hmm.
We all wish you the best in gathering all the donations and getting that project out of the ground.
Right.
I want to go back to Ruth. I know she had a question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, somewhere back in the discussion, one of the notes I made said, be friendly. So is that just something that somebody got started on and it kind of bled over onto everybody else? Because we have some people who are less friendly than others, I'll put it that way. And I just wondered how you create a culture of friendliness to potential people coming in.
Great question.
Well, yes, that is a good question. And it can, I do believe that the association and the way it started and how we have developed over the years is God. Our guidance is by God. It's with God's guidance. It's by his power and for his glory. And I hope I'm not sounding too whatever, but I am a believer that God guides us in things that he wants to see happen to do his work. When I first came back from Maryland and I came back home, and some of my friends said, well, what are you going to do? Some of your friends that you probably knew as a child are not there. And I said, I just want to go back home because I think that's how God was guiding me to come back home. And I asked him to give me something to do. Well, this is what God gave me to do. So I am not complaining. I'm going to continue to do God's work with his guidance. And I think our board and the people of Shiloh believes that too. You know, as you know, Shiloh means the peaceful one, right? The peaceful one. It also means gift. So it's a gift from God. So we are blessed. We are blessed that we are in the Shiloh community doing God's work. And if you do God's work, you will love and respect and everyone.
That was really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Norma.
Can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll speak up. I said that was really beautiful, Norma. Thank you for sharing that. And I think I don't want to put words in Laura Lee's mouth, so Laura Lee, feel free to chime in on that. But one thing I heard Laura Lee say was how important it was that you have visible projects going on where people will actually walk by and see it in action.
Yes.
And through those, interactions repeatedly, like whether it's every Saturday or whatever you have set up, that sort of repeated interaction builds community. So just being willing to stop and see what your neighbors are up to and chat for a second was something I heard. Laura Lee, did you want to add to that?
Sure. I think it's just very important to smile and wave. When you are working and you look up and someone walks by, you interact with them from your heart. And that's that whole, like for the garden anyway, that's on a corner. People walk by, people go to the track. But I think when you're building community, you have to build genuine relationships. And that's the piece that we as a society really get to go back to. How are we engaging? How do we care for each other? That's something we have to really actually teach people again. 50 years ago or 60 years ago, if your kid did something, you know, I always like to tell this story when I used to be at the Garden. When there was a grocery store in Shiloh, it was called Haynes's Grocery Store. And Mr. Haynes, it was a small business, right? It was a very, it's like a high, anyway, small business. If your kid went into Mr. Haynes's grocery store and did something maybe they shouldn't have, without a telephone, by the time you got home, your mother would know. And so that whole social kind of treating people with respect, the community, and those are things that are built over time. So there isn't like, oh, we're instantly going to build community. Click. It takes time. So we have to value relationships as that it's not what can I get out of it, but more what can I put into it so that everyone benefits.
What a beautiful point. Thank you so much for sharing that. I don't know if you can see our faces, but you got lots of laughs and grins on that one. So thank you.
Oh, good. No, I'm on my phone, but anyway, I'm glad.
Well, that feels like a great place to close. So what we typically do is a little checkout. And for that, just share with us a couple of words that sort of sum up how you're feeling or what you're taking away from the conversation today. And I'll start to kind of show you what I mean. And I'll say, I feel inspired and uplifted. And whoever wants to go next, just hop in.
More knowledgeable.
Nina, would you like to unmute and check out?
Who did you say? I'm sorry.
Nina?
Nina.
You could say just what you've gotten from this, like 2 words.
Yes, I have really enjoyed this because any ideas really
Hopeful,
do more.
happy. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Nina. Ruth?
I think the best thing I wrote down was do God's work.
Oh, nice. Laura-Lee? Yeah, there you are.
Hi, I'm here with Miss Georgia Allen, who's also part of the Shiloh Community Board, and she was going to say something because she's been listening to this with me.
Oh, great.
I'm very happy of what I have heard. Very good, very good. You did a great job.
And I'm going to chime in. I also I feel really hopeful by this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. This has been, as I suspected, very rich. And I appreciate you all coming and sharing and asking great questions. And thank you again to Norma for taking the time and effort to put together such a lovely presentation for us. And thank you to Laura-Lee for joining in and giving us some great insights. So, before I forget, we have our volunteer recruitment and retention workshop coming up. So if you have not attended that yet, there's been several emails that have gone out for you to be able to register for that. But it is being held on Monday, March 7th. So that's this coming Monday. It's from 10 to 12. It'll be on Zoom. Now, there's going to be a break in there, and there'll also be breakout groups. So it won't just be us talking at you for 2 solid hours. So for those of you who haven't attended, I think, gosh, just about everyone here has been in it. Norma, I don't know if you made it to that or not, but I think Ruth, Nina, and Evelyn
Wrote the book.
Yeah, so check out the emails and go ahead and register for that. We're looking forward to seeing everybody. And that one will not be recorded, so don't let being camera shy be a deterrent. So yeah, thank you guys. And we'll hope to see you again soon on Zoom.
Can
Thank
can
you
you tell us how, can you tell us how to access this recorded message?
I always send out an email with the recording.
Okay,
We are hopefully going to be revamping our website soon and have more of a, what I'm envisioning is like a learning center. But it may be a while coming. So meanwhile, just look for the emails from me and you can click on a link that'll take you to the video.
okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Take care.
Great job.
Thank you for
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you.